And Sarah Kimani on the line to us to shed more light on the recent developments since that ruling. Sarah, a very good morning to you. Do tell us, what is the general feeling of ordinary Kenyans after the Supreme Court's ruling yesterday?
Well, Kenyans are now waking up to the realization that indeed they will be going to elections in 59 days today, because the days started counting down yesterday. And so the elections must be held within 60 days, that is by 31st of October this year. Immediately after that judgment, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga called it a historic ruling and said it had set a precedent, not just for Kenya, but for the continent. Uhuru Kenyatta, on the other hand, said that he would respect the decision, but said he did not agree with it. But later on, he held his first campaign rally, and it is here that he expressed his real feelings, terming the 6 judges who delivered the ruling as thugs, and saying that they had been bribed by foreigners to deliver that ruling and to subvert the will of 8 million Kenyans who voted for him. Deputy President William Ruto, on the other hand, called on the IEBC, that is the Electoral Commission here, to come up with a date, saying they're ready to face the opposition in a duel very soon.
Sarah, maybe give us a little bit of clarity. I know that this side in South Africa, I'm not sure if you were in the courtroom when that ruling was made. We know that the judge didn't give clarity on this process that he claims was flawed. What can you tell us about what the judge said in regards to that? Does this affect the actual results and the number of voters that were actually captured?
Well, this has nothing to do with Uhuru Kenyatta's win per se, because Kenyatta was absolved from any blame. They said that Kenyatta did not commit any misconduct, but they said that the Electoral Commission failed, neglected, or refused to conduct the presidential election in a manner consistent with the dictates of the Constitution. Now, during the hearing, we had issues when the opposition was allowed to scrutinize the servers. They said that there had been irregularities there and that the transmission of those results could not be trusted. And so these are some of the things that were looked into, including the results declaration forms, which had discrepancies. But the ruling Jubilee Party, the IEBC, all of them say these discrepancies should not have led to the striking out of the election, but the Electoral Commission says elections is not a one-day process, and it is not a one-day event, but it is a process. And so they say to the culmination of that election, a lot of things should have been put in place to ensure that the election is free of any irregularities.
Sarah, let's talk about that. I mean, the IEBC has come under a serious scrutiny now. Do we know if it's going to be disbanded? I mean, the chairperson has already indicated that he's not stepping down, even though Odinga is called that he does so. Do we know what's going to happen from here forth?
Well, the Electoral Commission yesterday in a press conference said they will be doing some house cleaning, indicating that some of the electoral officials, but not the commissioners themselves, the electoral officials like presiding officers, returning officers, will be reshuffled, changed, or removed altogether. And even the chairman saying that he's calling on the government, on the director of public prosecutions to begin investigations and prosecute those officials who may have committed electoral offences. But he was clear that he's not resigning. However, the opposition is saying that it is not going to go to another election with this commission. In fact, we understand that they have already lodged a case in court to begin the process of the removal of the electoral commissioners.
Sarah, I'm very curious. Does this mean now that both the opposition parties in Kenya are going to start going back on a campaign trail before that new election is run in the country?
They have not indicated how they plan to have them removed, but like I have said, there is a case in court that they lodged yesterday. We wait to see whether the court will agree with them, but the time is so short. You have 60 days to organize an election.
Yeah.
So if the court agrees with them and forms another commission right now, it means that there may be other cases that will come in court, and the country may actually just be in a campaign mode, and probably the earliest an election then in that case would be held would be next year, because take, for example, this commission, one of the things it was saying yesterday in the press conference is that it came in office in January, and so they had only 7 months to organize an election. And they're already saying that those 7 months were not enough. So imagine if another commission is set up now and is led to carry out an election, then it means that commission would actually have an even more difficult time to be able to run an election within probably less than even 2 months.
And Sarah, a very quick one before I let you go. What are some of the current plans or indications that there are preparations for the next election to take place?
Well, we haven't heard anything from the Electoral Commission. I guess probably from Mondays when they will tell us how they plan to go about organizing an election. What we have is a call from Deputy President William Ruto saying, give us the new date for elections. We are ready to hit the road running, and we are sure this time we're going to get more than the 8 million votes that we got during the first election.
Sarah, thank you so much for that sound update. That was our East Africa correspondent, Sarah Kimani, joining us on the line from Nairobi, Kenya, with the developments there in the country after the Supreme Court nullified the August polls. Back home, ANC Treasury